Salvete omnes. This is a review of synopsizing first and second conjugation verbs. The directions tell us to synopsize the following verbs. Here are the principal parts. In the following person and number, and also to provide an English translation. So I'm going to put the Latin for amo, the synopsis, up here in the boxes. Then I'm going to say the answers for the English. And you're going to have to follow along. So, we'll start with the indicative, which indicates fact or non-fact. So what happens or doesn't happen. In the present imperfect, future, perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect tenses. In the active and passive voice. Remember, indicative is a mood, as is imperative is a mood. Now, amo, amare, amavi, amatus. Step 1, you must know the 4 principal parts, or else you stick a fork in you, you're done. You're screwed before you start. So, 4 principal parts, look at the endings. O, are, e, us. This tells you that this is a first conjugation verb. You can tell by the O, the are, the e, and the us. So we want second person singular. That means that we want first to find the verb's present stem, which is found by chopping the re off of the second principal part, the present active infinitive. The present stem for this verb is ama. You can always tell you're working with a first conjugation verb if you go to the second principal part, the present active infinitive, chop off the re. Shing. If the vowel that's left over, the stem vowel, is an a, like ama, a, that's a first conjugation verb. So that's the present stem, ama. That's the base for the present, imperfect, and future, active, and passive. If this were a first-person singular synopsis, we would just write down the first principal part, amo, here and here. In the passive, we've added the personal ending, ra. So we get amo and amor. I love, I am being loved. But this synopsis is in second person singular, so you, thou, second person singular. So present active, take the present stem, ama, and then add the correct personal ending. So the personal endings for the active voice are o, or m, st, mus, tis, und. ost, mus, tis, und. So second person singular, you, that's going to be the s. So we get amas, amas, the present stem, ama, plus the personal ending, s, amas, which means you love, you are loving, you do love, thou lovest. For the passive, same present stem, ama, but this time instead of adding the active personal endings, ost, mustes, sunt, we're going to add the passive personal endings, which are restur, mor, mini, untor, restur, mor, mini, untor. So we want the ris instead of the s for the active. So where amas means you love, amaris means you are loved. You are being loved. Thou art loved. Thou art loved. For the imperfect, this is a continuous action in the past. So I was verbing, or I used to verb, I kept on verbing. It is formed from the present stem, ama, as is the future, active and passive. For the imperfect, add the tense marker ba. Ba. Ba indicates the imperfect, a continuous action in the past. We're not going to add the O for the personal ending, ost, mustis, sunt, because that's weird. We'll use the M ending. I'm sorry, the S ending. So if it were first person singular, that would be bom. Here we just add the S. Amabas. You were loving. You used to love. You kept on loving. And then the passive exchanged the S active personal ending with the ris passive personal ending. Amabares. You were being loved. The being is important, Ben. You were being loved. You used to be loved. You kept on being loved. For the future of a first and second conjugation verb, we're going to add the tense marker be for most forms. It is helpful for the future because there are a few irregularities to just go ahead and memorize the endings. They are bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt. Bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt. You can add bi, the tense marker, for most of the forms, except for the first person singular and the third person plural, which are bo and bunt, B-U-N-T. Otherwise, it's bi and then st, mustis. So we get amabis, you will love, you shall love. For the passive second person singular is irregular. The endings for the passive are bor, beres with an E, beres, bitor, bimor, bimini, buntor. So go ahead and memorize those. They're a little bit odd. Okay, those are the continuous action tenses. So continuous action in the present, in the past, and in the future. Formed from the present stem ama. These guys use tense markers. And then you add the personal ending to tell you the person who's doing the action. Second person singular, you. In the active, that's s, and in the passive, that's res, you. You are being. You were being, you will be. Now for the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, the completed action tenses, the tenses where the action is done in the present, the past, and the future, we go to the third principal part. This is how you find the verb's perfect stem. Chop the I off of the third principal part and you get amav. Amav is the perfect stem and forms the base of the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect active only. Active only. So for the perfect active, we add the perfect active personal endings to the perfect stem. They are I, isti, it, imus, istis, erunt. So we have isti, amavisti. You loved. You have loved. You did love. So the perfect tense is a completed action in the past, but it also has repercussions in the present, like I have loved, meaning I did so in the past and it's still true in the future. Or I'm sorry, it's still true in the present. I have done this. It is done right now. I have done my homework, meaning I already did it in the past and right now in the present it's still done. So Latin has merged these two tenses, the past tense and sort of the present perfect, into one tense, and that's the perfect. And that's why there are two translations. You loved versus you have loved. Pluperfect is easier. The helping verb is had, H-A-D. So in Latin, perfect stem, add era, and then the personal ending s. So the endings are eram, eras, erat, eramus, eratus, erant. You may notice that that is the imperfect of sum, added to the perfect stem as an ending. Translation, had. So you had loved. It's already happened in the past. You had loved. It's even more past. That's why it's pluperfect, plus, more than perfect, more than past, more than completed. And the future perfect, that's a completed action in the future. The future perfect will have happened before the future. So I will have completed my homework before I will play video games. The homework completion has to happen before the future tense, before the video games. So perfect stem, amav, add the tense marker ere, and then you're going to add the personal ending s. Basically, you're adding the future of sum. Ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, and then be careful, it's erent, erent. as the third plural ending. The third plural future of sum is erunt. We can't use erunt here because it's already the third plural of the perfect. I isti it, imus istis erunt. So the future perfect is you will have loved before you will do something else, future tense. So you will have loved. For the passive of these, perfect, pluperfect, future perfect, we go to the fourth principal part, so the supine stem, chop the us off the fourth principal part, and you get amat. Now, you can treat this guy as the adjective form of the verb, because it is. This is the participle form, the past participle, or the perfect passive participle form. So make sure that it has us, endings. Us, endings. We're dealing with a singular person. That means that this is like an adjective because it's a participle. Participle is a verbal adjective, the verb form, the adjective form of a verb. So it needs to have first and second declension adjective endings like latus or altus malus bonus So we have amatus It will take the same gender, number, and case as whatever was loved, the subject. Now we need to give a helping verb on this, or else just dangling by itself, it's a participle. So the helping verb will tell you the tense. The helping verb will also tell you the person. So we use the present of sum as the helping verb for the perfect tense. So sum es est, sumus estis sunt. So we want s. And then for the pluperfect, we want the, you guessed it, the imperfect of sum as the helping verb. So eras. And then for the future perfect passive, we want the, yup, indeedy do. We want the future of sum as the helping verb. So eris. Amatus es. Now, if a masculine person, if the verb refers to a male, you would say amatus es. You, male, masculine thing, you were loved. You have been loved. If the subject is a woman, is feminine, amata es. You, feminine, you were loved. You have been loved. And then if it's a neuter thing, amatum es. You, neuter thing, you were loved. You have been loved. So it will take the gender and the number and the case, like an adjective, like any good adjective, of the thing that it modifies, of the noun that it modifies. And then here, in the helping verb, we get the person, we get the number, we get the tense. Keep in mind that if this were a plural person, not only would this have to change to estis, second person plural estis, but this singular needs to become plural, e, I, us, The plural of us is e, so amati. The plural of is I, ae pronounced I, and the plural of neuter is So e, I, estis would be the second person plural. Optime, and then the imperative mood. The singular active imperative is just the bare present stem. So ama, love, do it, love thou, love, comma, thou. Then for the passive singular imperative mood, it's just the second principal part, amare. Be loved. Do it. It's passive voice. Get loved. For the plural active, you take the singular active and then add te. So amate. Love, comma, ye. Come on, guys. Love. Love, y'all. Y'all love. It's an imperative telling second person plural. Ye, y'all. And then the passive, the ending is mini. It looks like the second plural present passive indicative. So amamini. Get loved, ye guys. Come on, guys, get loved. Be loved, amamini. Optime. Very well done. The others should go more quickly. So teneo, tenere, tenui, tentus. So second person plural. This is a second conjugation. You can tell by the endings. Eo, ere, e, us. If it's got an eo in the first principal part, then it must always have a long e, which I did not mark with the macron. E, re. This is a second conjugation. So you do the same thing as you do for the first conjugation. The present stem is found by chopping the re off of the second principal part. So you get tene. Then you get perfect stem from chopping the I from the third principal part, and you get supine stem from chopping the us off of the fourth principal part. Add appropriate tense markers and endings, and you're good. Make sure you throw in the English translations. So indicative mood, present active. So tene is the present stem. I chopped the re off from the second principal part, and I'm going to write tene, 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 tene. So that's the base for the present, imperfect, future, active, and passive. For the present, I'm going to add second person plural ost mus tis, tis, und. So tenetis, tenetis, ye hold, y'all hold, ye are holding, ye do hold. The passive exchange tis with aristur more mini, mini untur, tenemini, tenemini, ye are being held, y'all are held. Passive voice. The imperfect tene, add the ba and then the tis, tenebatis. Ye were holding, y'all were holding. Passive, tenebamini, tenebamini. Ye were being held. The being is important, Ben. Ye were being held. Y'all used to be held. The future, tenebitis, tenebitis. Ye will hold. Y'all shall hold. Passive, tenebimini, tenebimini. Ye will be held. Y'all shall be held. For the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect active only, we need the perfect stem. Third principal part, chop off the I. So tenu, tenu. Tenu, add the perfect personal endings. E isti it, imus istis, istis erunt, tenuistis. Ye held, ye have held, ye did hold. Pluperfect, tenu eratis, tenu eratis, ye had held. Future perfect, tenu eritis, tenu eritis, ye will have held. For the perfect, pluperfect, future perfect passive, go to the fourth principal part, tentus, chop off the us, you get tent as the supine stem. Now add, we want plural, the plural nominative, masculine, feminine, and neuter adjective endings. So not us, but e, I, because we're dealing in a plural person. So we want tenti, I, to get tenti, tentai, tenta, to cover all three genders. Tenti, I, and then the helping verb. We want the present of sum for the perfect tense. We want the imperfect of sum for the pluperfect tense, and the future of sum for the future perfect tense. So, tenti, I, estis, ye were held, ye have been held. Pluperfect, tenti, I, eratis, tenti, I, eratis, ye had been held. Future perfect, tenti, I, eritis, tenti, I, eritis, ye will have been held. Ye will have been held. For the imperative mood, imperative singular, present stem is tene, hold, hold in hand. Passive, same as the second principal part. Tenere, be held, get held, do it. For the plural, take the singular, tene, add te, tenete, tenete, hold ye. Come on, y'all, hold. And then the passive, it's actually the exact same as the present. So, tenemini, tenemini. How would you tell the difference? Context. Context would tell you which answer is correct. Context is key. Tenemini, get held, ye. Be held, ye. Be held, comma, ye. Optime, laudo, laudare, laudavi, laudatus. This is a first conjugation. I can tell by the principal parts. Present stem is lauda. Perfect stem is laudav. Supine stem is laudat. I'm dealing with third person singular. So OST, most assonant, I want T for active. For passive, aristor, tor. I want tor for passive. Morminiuntor. So lauda is the present stem. It's the base here, here, and here, 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 and here. Laudat, laudat. He, she, it praises, is praising, does praise. Passive, laudator, laudator. He, she, it is praised. He, she, it is being praised. Imperfect, laudabat, laudabat. He, she, it was praising. He, she, it used to praise, kept on praising. Laudabator, laudabator. He, she, it was being praised. The being is important, Ben. He, she, it used to be praised. Future, laudabitur, laudabitur. He, she, it, I'm sorry, the active, laudabit. Laudabit was getting ahead of myself. Laudabit, he, she, it will praise, and the passive is laudabitur. Laudabitur, he, she, it will be praised. For the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect active, we're going to use the perfect stem, which is laudab. Laudab. Make sure you add the right perfect personal ending for the perfect tense. Iesti it, imus istis eron, laudavit. Laudavit, he, she, it praised. He, she, it has praised. Pluperfect, laudaverat. Laudaverat. He, she, it had praised. And the future perfect, laudaveret. Laudaveret. He, she, it will have praised. For the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect, in the passive, we're going to use the fourth principal part. Because we're dealing with a singular person, we're fine with laudatus for the masculine. Make sure to add for the feminine and the neuter. So laudatus we want the present of sum as the helping verb, so est. Laudatus est. He, she, it was praised. He, she, it has been praised. Pluperfect, laudatus erat. He, she, it had been praised. And the future perfect, laudatus erit. He, she, it will have been praised. For the imperative singular, imperative mood, we want the present stem lauda, praise. Praise, comma, thou, exclamation point. Come on, praise, you, singular. For the passive, same as the second principal part, laudare, be praised. Come on, just stand there and be praised. It's okay. Be praised, laudare. For the plural, take the singular active, lauda, add te, laudate, laudate, praise, comma, ye. Praise ye. Come on, guys, praise. And then for the passive, laudamini. Laudamini, be praised, get praised, y'all. Come on, guys, do it. And then voco, vocare, vocavi, vocatus. First person singular. So when dealing with a first person singular, always set off a little alarm bell in your head that that's got to do something a little bit different. So go ahead and for the present tense, write down the first principal part, voco, in both the active and the passive. So The only job of the first principal part is to be the first person singular present active indicative. He goes right there. That's his only job, to go woko. I call. I am calling, I do call. Now for the passive, you write woko and then you add the r, because you have aris tor mor mini untor. We already took care of the o in the active, ost mustis und. You need to add the r here. So wokor, wokor. That is a V-O-C-O-R, wokor. I am being called. I am called. So the rest of these were the imperfect, future, active, and passive. Present stem as normal. Chop the RE from the second principal part from this first conjugation verb. So we have woka, add the ba, and then the wokabam, wokabam. I was calling, I used to call. Passive, wokabar, wokabar. I used to be called. I was being called. The being is important, Ben. For the future, present stem woka, and then it's bo, bo, so bo, bis, bit, bimus, bitis, bunt, so wokabo, wokabo, so I will call, I shall call. Then the future, wokabor, wokabor, bor, beris, bitor, bimor, bimini, buntor, so wokabor, I will be called, I shall be called. For the perfect, pluperfect, future perfect, the game has not changed. Go to the third principal part, chop off the I, you get the perfect stem. So wokab, write down for all three of these. For the perfect, you actually don't need to change anything, because that's his job there as well, to be the first person singular, perfect, active, indicative. Wokawi, wokawi, because the ending is e isti it, imus istis eron. So he's already right there. Wokawi, I called, I have called, I did call. I did do it. For the pluperfect, it's wokab and then add eram. So wokaweram, wokaweram. I had called. Then the future perfect, wokawero, wokawero. The future perfect endings are ero, eris, eret, erimus, eritis, erent. So wokawero, I will have called. Over here in the perfect, pluperfect, and future perfect passive, we have wokatos, and because we are dealing with a singular person, we can keep wokatos for the masculine, make sure you add a for the feminine and for the neuter to get wokatos a Add your helping verb and you're all set. Wokatos a sum. I was called. I have been called. The pluperfect would be wokatus a eram, I had been called. And the future perfect, wokatus a ero, I will have been called. For the imperative mood, singular active, it's just the present stem woka, woka, call, call, comma, thou. Come on, dude, call. For the passive, it's just the second principal part, wokare, be called. Come on, what are you doing? Just sitting there. Be called, do it. And then for the plural active, take the singular woka, add te, wokate, wokate. Call, comma, ye, call ye. Come on, guys, call, do it. And the passive was wokamini, wokamini. So be called, wokamini. Be called, ye. And then finally we have moeo, moere, movi, motus. This is a second conjugation. I can tell by the endings of the verb, of the principal parts. So eo, ere, macron over that e, long ere, and then e, us. Make sure you know the proper principal parts. It turns to mowi. It turns to motus, not movitus. Think of the English word motion. It's motion. Motion, motion. It's not movition. A lot of students write movitus for this. The English word is not movition, it's motion. Well, it just blew your minds there. So this is third person plural. We're dealing with a plural person. So a lot of NT unts in the active and unturs, NTURs in the passive. So present stem is mowe, chop the RE, mowe. So mo went, they move, they are moving, they do move. Passive mo wentur, they are moved, they are being moved. Imperfect active, mowe bont, they were moving, they used to move, they kept on moving. Passive, mowe bontur, they were being moved. The being is important, Ben. They kept being moved, kept on happening to them. Future active, mowe bunt, B-U-N-T, mowe bunt, they will move, they shall move. Passive is buntur, mowe buntur, they will be moved. For the perfect, pluperfect, future perfect active, use the perfect stem mo, M-O-V, mo. So for the perfect active, third person plural, we want moverunt, moverunt, ist, it, imus, istis, erunt, moverunt. They moved, they have moved, they did move. Pluperfect, moverant, moverant, they had moved. Future perfect, moverent, moverent, they will have moved. For the passive, we have motus, but remember we're dealing with a plural person, so change this to plural. Instead of motus we should have moti I moti I. So make sure you add your helping verb. Moti I sunt, they were moved, they have been moved. Pluperfect, moti erant, they had been moved. Future perfect, moti erunt, erunt. That one's kind of tricky. It's erunt, not erint as the helping verb, because we want the future of sum as the helping verb, and the future of sum is ero, eris, erit, erimus, eritis, erunt. Well, where'd the errant come from? Errant is the third plural future perfect active, ending. The ending. So this is moti erunt. They will have been moved. Imperative mood, singular active, mowe, which is the exact same in English. Move. Passive, movere. Be moved. What are you doing just standing there? Be moved. Come on. For the plural, it's mowe, move, plus te, mowete. You'd shout that to more than one person in your way. Mowete, move, guys, come on, move, y'all. And the passive, mowemini, be moved, y'all. Get moved, dudes. Optime, very well done. That does it for exercise A.